few caustics during scrims, but I don't think he's going to pop up just yet. Maybe later on in the series. One legend that might actually turn up could be Vantage. Now with her new perks, you can actually get ring console information as well. Definitely could be an inclusion depending on how people like to play, but we'll see probably a lot of Catalyst as you see Skittlecakes going for it as well.
And Skittlecakes on the Catalyst. I know he's very excited as we've heard some rumors of what may be happening to Caustic in a new season, and we know that Skittlecakes historically has loved that Smelly Man. Devo in his hands early on is going to be good news for them as well. Don't know if they've got an energy arsenal close by. They do, indeed. So they'll be able to upgrade that on the way through. Potential Devo play, who knows? Zap is doing the no-name to make sure that they can claim as much loot as they can before they start on the task of going back-to-back here. And it's interesting to talk about the story of drops, because I feel like it's been the nearly man so many times when we talk about LANs. You go back to Birmingham Champs a few years ago, Optic Gaming had that chance on match point. Historic moment where NRG managed to clutch to keep the tournament going, and he's always been there or thereabout, but that trophy, that chip, has always eluded him.
And this would be a brilliant one to get as well. We saw how much it meant to Alliance last year when they finally were able to raise and hoist that trophy. Is there going to be a new name on the Esports World Cup? As we are going to get some zone information coming in as well. And it looks like we're heading a little bit closer to where Falcons are landing. We're going to be heading somewhat northwest, maybe more west side, over towards kind of Lava Fissure area and Countdown.
Just see where this zone does actually pull. Is it going to be out the backside of Countdown, or are we going to go towards that drill tower? Have to see as the game goes on, of course. Third beacon information might be pretty important for some of these teams. As we have a quick look at Kadzia as they make their way through Harvester, already up to purple, Strafing Flame here, so he's been busy collecting Evo. But for teams like Unitrope, TSM, Edward Gaming, Orchid already rotating as well from Monument, and of course Mouse, who dropped over at Countdown, they're going to have priority to this zone and should be set up for success.
Yeah, I'm not sure Edward Gaming actually had a ring console, but they did have a survey beacon, and they probably already saw how many teams were there, and they say, well, let's just headshot bets, and we'll start to join everyone else. Now, TSM should be able to comfortably hold this building as well. They're a little bit concerned that someone might have been pushing from their south, but it looks like it was Zero Tenacity. They've just been able to bully them away for now. And as you can see, they've got a Nexus portal down as well, just in case, as a fallback.
The TSM will be, in all aspects of the word, chilling. Technical term that we use in Apex Legends. Duplex, interestingly, as we saw from the interview from Lace a little bit earlier on with Gent, on the Newcastle. Gent been relieved of his duties.
Package over there. Why can't
very late drama, Dad. Maybe drama. Who knows?
Late to be doing that, isn't it?
Let's make things up. I want to mention as well, we are seeing a few players running that flatline as well. You saw it. I mentioned kind of Waltzy, how he's become the player who's going to be running that for Falcons, and you're probably thinking, you know, why exactly that is. Of course, it does have the accelerator hop-up on it now, so the ability to get that ultimate back a little bit quicker with the damage going out is going to be vital to teams and their success, as we see a Stinger Bolt going on here. It's going to force E36 to retreat and play in this tunnel underneath a lot of the teams who are already inside a Countdown.
And Force 36 did struggle a lot in international scrims, but obviously in international scrims, you know, they're playing on about 300 ping, so I don't want to take too much away from it, but they have historically been a team who likes to play very placement heavy. They like to try and play zone. They like to get into a position where they can call it home for quite some time. So we'll have to see if they can find any success here.
Another weapon that should be discussed a little bit in the same vein as the flatline as well. The Havoc, you're going to see a little bit more of that. Again, due to that accelerator perk, and a couple of little buffs as well. Orchid trying to find a little bit of space here, and they're actually going to retreat towards, I think, what is going to be home base for them for the meantime. This truck outside of the drill tower that's just been pinged here by Cersei to give you a little bit of an indication of exactly where that little bit of geometry is going to be. Now, Kadzia now, XT Pricey having to be forced off of that high ground right now to pop the Phoenix kit. As teams once again do start to arrive here, and it is busy already. I always find it fascinating, man. Like, you look at scrims, you look at how they're played, it is just night and day. It's the moment that we approach LAN, and the moment that we get on the server, everybody's already in zone. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams outside of zone right now. Everyone else is either inside of Countdown or working their way outside of it from Landslide.
As much as people try to replicate a tournament setting in scrims, it's quite literally impossible to do. There is something wired in your brain as a human that makes you play very differently when there is actual stakes on the line compared to literal just practice. But it does mean that we get different results from scrims leading into it. So that's why we never take too much away from scrims. Yes, we've seen X, Y, or Z team performing very successfully, and it gives us an idea, but there might just be a few sleeper teams that have been playing very differently in scrims.
Or a 300 plus ping.
Or a 300
Which is something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at this fight going down, though, as we see an EMP onto Furia's position inside of this digger. Furia showing that maybe they are faultly certified in this particular situation, getting Madness back to his feet. You have the Catalyst as well, which is going to reinforce those doors, but the windows always make it a little bit scary, especially when you don't have Watson available to suck up those grenades that are going to be coming in with that interception pylon. Also, interestingly, no Newcastle, so that castle wall isn't going to be able to fulfill that role either. So Furia are going to have to essentially take damage and just try and reset and hold off teams that approach.
I have thought of a Catalyst buff, though. Reinforced windows. There we go. That's how suddenly her pick rate will skyrocket.
Reinforced POI.
Just reinforce everything. ALGS are healthy, well, and they can back off, and they're okay in landslide for now. My worry for them is when that zone inevitably does shift, is it going to be an uncomfortable rotation for them? They do have Newcastle to make builder cover, so they'll be absolutely fine to at least walk up, and they can use Newcastle's shield as well to get closer to Furia. But it's about where you go. Like we said, it's so busy when you get closer towards Countdown.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how Falcons are actually playing this game as well, because we've seen a lot of teams already rotate their way in towards Countdown and the surrounding areas, but it looks like Falcons are playing for next zone information. They're hovering in and around Skyhook at the moment, waiting for the zone to pop, then they're going to hit that console and see where that third zone is going to be going. By doing that, they get the idea of if it's pulling towards Countdown, if it's pulling out towards the drill tower, or if it's going to pull towards landslide. And it looks, from my point of view, on the info that we have, we could be either going drill tower or a little bit further towards landslide. So everyone who's gone into Countdown is going to have to leave at some point.
Got a new upgrade. Can't wait to unleash.
The Falcons now will make their move thanks to the Nexus portal. Again, another reason why Alter is such a heavily picked legend, not just for the defensive ability, but also the speed of access as an offensive ability to try and catch up your team. Then you just bounce between those portals when you get laid under some fire. As Falcons have just spotted, I think, all gamers on the northeast trying to scout round and see if Skyhook was available, and it could have been another battle here, but instead of it being for first and second, it could be for 20th or 19th.
And this is something you're going to see from Falcons a lot, by the way, here on World's Edge. The fact that they have all of Skyhook and Trials to themselves, that's why they've got 2 gold armors and a purple. It's just so much loot available for them. Any team that they go up against, they're usually going to have an early game armor advantage. And one thing I wanted to highlight here, this rotate through the tunnel is usually a little bit treacherous, and you can see how they were moving. They were very aware of what could be around them, but it's pretty clear for them to actually move through to where this zone is going. Not so clear, though, for AG.
AG find Noah's Fox, and Falcon's actually going to probably third-party this, or at least take a look at it, so Noah's Fox need to be careful.
And Noah's Fox at the moment just retreating because Arupa has gone down. And it's going to be zapped with another kill to his name, or certainly the finish onto Arupa. And now Noah's Fox have got to decide how they get around this situation, how they get his teammate back into the game. Falcons have a little poke at this, but they've got Team Orchid to deal with as well. So, sticky situation where they're trying not to put themselves in a pinch.
Orchid will retreat, or at least one of them is going to, so Falcons were able to hold off just a single player that was trying to step up, hearing all that commotion. Falcons might have to burn a few ultimates here, though, just to stay alive and maybe get aggressive.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good in this situation, but just as you think that, there's a team coming through that tunnel. And Walsey has to get that first knock and manages to do so beautifully there. Havoc controlled absolutely expertly in that situation to make sure that Orchid are forced back and Falcons can now get healthy.
Yeah, it was like an almost ambush attempt from Orchid just to leave 1 or 2 players onto the side, but Falcons, they were wise to it, didn't allow it, and now Falcons can take control of that tunnel and look to try and maybe move through and hold off any of those rotating teams from the previous fight.
Enemy over there.
So Orchid, of course, have Luxford down. And the worry for Falcons now is that they will know that Orchid are low. They've got that KP themselves, but they've got to worry about Wolves Esports positions up on that drill tower. However, they make this cross, we're in a great position to pepper them with damage. So Falcons have got some choices to make here, how they play. They don't have to do anything for this zone. And it looks like for now, the plan, watch our backs. Once we've done that, once we've cleared the likes of Nose Fox, who have moved to get the respawn in Skyhook, then they can look to hold it out. Now that we've got the opportunity to see what Falcons are doing, let's see what the comms are sounding like as we jump in to a Falcons listening.
我的口来人了，我的走了，好。 I see one.
Well, we'll get Falcons on our audio in your ears as soon as we possibly can, but for now we're going to go back to the POV, and you can see that at the moment they're just keeping their head on a swivel. They want to make sure that nobody is rotating from their back and that they can just turn their attentions forward.
That zone is going to shift a little bit further towards Falcons as well. It's going to be on this eastern side. So I think they'll be delighted when they eventually realize it. Of course, they're not going to have any information right now. AG will also probably be pretty happy about that one, as Movistar will be our first team eliminated. It's taken quite a while here, but finally we see a team deleted, and maybe another one here as Edward Gaming will be under fire. They're taken down by Sentinels.
I was wondering when we were going to see a Devo. Well, Carter's got one, and he's got some KP to go alongside it. So the Devo stats start to pick up in game number 2 here. Sentinels clearing out their low ground. Where that zone is pulling, very, very interesting as we see Na'Vi going up against ALGS here, and it looks like Na'Vi could not be longed for this world. Xhaka will be taken down, and ALGS will be able to hold, but they've got to be worried about Falcons now.
Made it to max level.
Actually, excuse me, this is the vault tunnel on the southern side of this zone. Falcons are absolutely fine, and ALGS as well will be fine.
They'll be fine, but they then have to go back into Landslide, which is currently heavily contested by the likes of Furia and Wolves and remainder of Nemesis as well, as now Sentinels into another fight. You can see they've been able to get yet more damage onto a squad. Sentinels not scared of taking fights right now.
Interesting to see that Ninjas in Pajamas were actually pushing onto Fnatic in that fight. Sentinels were moving to try and third party to see if there was an opportunity, but NIP used their Void Nexus to get away, and now you're seeing exactly the same play from the side of Sentinels. Unfortunately for Fnatic, last player alive Alace will be taken down as Ninjas in Pajamas will pick up some more KP.
So a lot of teams now are going to start to try and worm their way into zone. Gen G, NIP, Zero Tenacity have just moved in as well. They were all the teams that kind of the late stragglers here. I don't know if any of them are actually going to force a fight. We might get a position when 16 squads are still left going into this next zone. Maybe one fight might occur on the south. Gen G potentially against ALGS and Team Nemesis.
Can we go to the point of view of Cannon if you have the opportunity? Because he was in the funniest position with that Sheila behind one of those walls just up on the height. But for now, we'll look at Gen G. More pressing issues ahead of us as Nemesis are feeling what that Devo can do. Ripping that wall down. But Nemesis do have that mobile shield available, and now Nemesis are going to send it onto them. Ninja Pajamas have been eliminated in the meantime. Gen G is down to 1. Asia feeling the power of Team Nemesis, and with the armor disadvantage, Nemesis will win that fight.
This was my worry down on the southern side, that Gen G would just spark all of this commotion. Now Furia getting involved. Zero Tenacity is starting to arrive as well, and the Devotions are very much in play here.
Man has got to be careful here. Still one player alive somewhere or other here for Nemesis. Akaisha has been taken out. Zero Tenacity now moving in, like you say. And when you're looking at the armor disparity, well, you can't get much more than this at this point in the game. 2 reds and a purple here for Z10.
God, everyone wants in on this Madness on the south. Now ALGS are going to look into it. Nemesis do get eliminated. Furia down to just 1 as Madness gets knocked down as well. But they do have the ability to go back into this truck. Maybe there's a reset, chat. No, there isn't.
Furia will be eliminated. ALGS moving into Landslide to try and be the last team to essentially arrive at this position, wrap behind everyone and clear this southern side of the map out. We'll take a look at the replay in a few seconds of Ninjas in Pajamas and that fight where we saw them eliminated. Zakadzia now take that loot that was left by Furia.
They take that loot, they take that position, and they will control the majority of the south. Zero Tenacity being their main concern on the southwest. Everyone else is above the halfway point when it comes to north and south. So most of the fights now are going to occur on the northwest. You've got Maus, Noah's Fox, Sentinels, TSM, all have to get out of Countdown, and they're probably going to find a rough time of it as well.
E36 gathering some loot that was left over, and they will be safe on this blue crate for where this next zone is going, but there's going to be so much traffic around them. ALGS, by the way, amazing job from them to wrap to that southern side, be the last team to wrap. Keeping their eyes on that timer when the zone was closing to clear out that southern side, and now they have a walk-in if, and it's a big if, they can deal with Zero Tenacity. Now over towards Countdown, and this is going to be chaos as everybody has to leave. Jen trying to get the res behind the castle wall here as the Newcastle, excuse me, it was Duplex on the Newcastle. As Sentinels try and move in to finish off TSM, and Carter, no turbocharger on that Devo, but he doesn't need it.
Oh, they get eliminated from elsewhere. elsewhere, though, and TSM will just about survive.
Second time in 2 games.
Realistically, though, are they going to be pushed from the team above? How aware were they? It looks like TSM might get away with this.
The second time in 2 games that one player, and it's going to be Jen again, is left alive, and TSM are allowed to reset. So TSM, a slice of luck going their way. As Kinatrope up on that high ground, were able to survive that fight and influence it. Alcatia, by the way, been eliminated. We mentioned how they had to clear that side out, weren't able to do so.
No, Xbox also go down, so 6 squads now remain. Falcons are currently hunting down the remainder of Mao's on the north by the looks of it, and they should deal with it, and they will deal with it. So off screen, Mao's just got eliminated, but it looks like Kinatrope are now aware of TSM's position here.
Sheila's thirsty, and TSM have got to be careful here, because if Cannon peaks with that ultimate, there is going to be an opportunity for him to do a huge amount of damage. By the way, did you see the loadout there for Cannon? Don't think he had much time to loot before they rotated. Had an alternator, no attachments, maybe even rezzed. Yeah, Kinatrope did res, so that's probably why.
Like the
although Volks has got an RE45 and a bolt check, so who knows?
We are going to see just Kinatrope very concerned about TSM, but reluctant. Oh, we see it!
The abduction, but Cannon gets away.
Cannon goes in, Cannon goes out. TSM, try as they might, they are just in such a precarious position right now. It's going to be so difficult for them to survive.
Panic's got that turbocharged Devo, so if anyone walks into his POV,
there's another
they
one.
are going to get shredded! And that's exactly what happens. They get the finish as well. And you're probably wondering, why finisher? Well, it means that they can't recall him through that Nexus that was down. TSM not only survived, but now start to thrive as well.
By the way, all the meanwhile, Falcons have taken the entire space in the middle of this zone, and they are very much favorites to win this thing, because Wolves, TSM, and Kinatrope all on the same side, and Falcons can watch over all of it, saying, come to us, is there anyone else?
Chance to pad a little bit of damage here. You saw how, by the way, nearly 2k damage already in this game, but the Catwall now going down from TSM. They have moved in towards zone, but the Motherload and the EMP coming in means that Kinatrope will be destroyed, they will be eliminated, and Falcons do not want to let anyone on this side of the map.
And Falcons are so spread, they are just covering, they are pitching, it's just Wolves left.
It's just Wolves left, and look at this. Just so much space being controlled still by Falcons. The question is, did they use all of those ultimates to clear this space a little bit prematurely? And what have Wolves got to play with?
If Wolves can commit and maybe find a single player from Falcons, there is a chance here. You can see that Sparrow ultimate was close as well, and that could really make a difference. And they're so close to a Dark Veil as well. All the ultimates are nearly there for Wolves, which could make
They're not going to let it happen. How's swinging in here. How's got some good damage down. But How in the meantime has gone down, but he managed to take 2 with him. Don't have the last alive, does not get to survive, and Falcons will win game number 2 here at World's Edge.
It's a second place, it's a first place, and it's enough to make the crowd in the Guinea Arena erupt for their home team. And Falcons looking far better in the early stages of the tournament than they did at the ALGS Open.
Very, very impressive stuff from Falcons, and I want to just take it back. You think about how many teams rotated quickly towards that zone off of that first ring console piece of information that they got. So many teams like, this is a countdown zone, this is countdown. So many teams stacked up inside a countdown. What do Falcons do? They wait inside the skyhook. They wait for third beacon information. They play that ring console and they play that pullback superbly. The fights they won to clear that eastern side is so important as well, and it means they end up with 23 points coming in from match number 2.
And Falcons make the most...